Welcome to Puzzle with Emilia. That's me. Let's keep that line because you wanted to. Today we're gonna do all the puzzles from the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship 2025, the solo classification round. So that's in total crazy 12 puzzles. And we're gonna see, would have I chosen the right puzzle no matter what round I would have been in. And personally, obviously, I'm the most interested in, did I make the right decision on my round for myself? By the way, very random thing. I just bought myself a Christmas calendar, a puzzle Christmas calendar. I just wanted to mention because I always miss this one, and usually they like sell out all the good Christmas calendars early on, so you may want to do that as well. Anyway, let's start from the round number one. And this was interesting because at this point, you know, when the first round we were still waiting for it, nobody actually knew like how the puzzles are going to be. First of all, I think a lot of people were expecting the new catalog puzzles, maybe expecting to have very similar puzzles in the same round. Whereas maybe we even did in a way that they were very similar in time or difficulty except some rounds. But yeah, round number one we had, people were like, oh, a circle puzzle. So we had the dessert, and then we had the Lake Como Italy puzzle. And if I would have been in this round, let me think about this. So, I would have probably chosen this one. Now, let's go through this. So, first of all, I want to thank Patrick who gave me this puzzle. I don't think I even swapped it to anything, so thank you. And my situation would have been for this round that I've never done this before. I can see right away it's easy. It's probably faster than the other puzzle. But also, as I mentioned, it was the first round. If I would have been on the first round, my first question would have been, yeah, it feels faster, but I've done the other one. Also, one big question mark for me at that point would have been like the space management, because you're sharing a table with somebody else. So I would have been a little bit unsure about that. And also sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes it looks very easy, but I'm actually wrong. So I would have actually gone with the Lake Como puzzle. So yeah, I did this puzzle at home. As said, I did all of these, and I would have actually done this in 48 minutes and 48 seconds, which is, by the way, funny. I would have placed 27th right after Patrick on that round. Yeah, all right, let's take a look at the Lake Como. I have done this puzzle, I would say, over a year ago. And I do remember that I had pretty good time for at least this type of puzzle. So my first time attempt over a year ago was 50 minutes, 20 seconds. Because we had such a high percentage actually qualifying from the classification round, I would have probably chosen this just because I knew what my first time was. And I would have feel confident enough that even if I would have done the wrong choice in a way, I would have qualified with this one. And yeah, this is pretty interesting. We can see here because I finished this now in 50 minutes and 41 seconds, which is technically slower than I was a year ago. I'm not surprised. I haven't developed that much. I did develop quite a lot from like 2023 to 2024, but the last year not that much. And I think this is also that type of image that, I don't know, you can just struggle with this if you want to, or even if you don't want to. And I would have placed 29th with this puzzle. So obviously this would have been time-wise a right choice for me, but also the last one to qualify on this round, no matter which puzzle, the last qualifying time would have been like 1 hour, 9 minutes and some seconds. So I would have qualified with either one anyway. Well, now the second round. If the first round has the shock that, oh my god, we're having a circle puzzle here, I think the shock for this one was obviously that we had a postcard puzzle on this round. And even though it was paired up with I would say this is not maybe the easiest, but this is really easy round puzzle. The only hard one that makes hard things, whatever. Only challenging part of this puzzle, which makes it very slow in the end, is actually the the last blue round, that is more like a trial and error, so it will just naturally take more time. I would have chosen obviously the postcard just because I myself also have done it a few times. I know I'm not super fast with it, so I would have been kind of like, I don't like doing fast puzzles. I feel like I'm gonna lose to a lot of people. But yeah, let's take a look. So this Candies puzzle here, I would have done this, as we can see here, really struggling with those last edges, by the way. I would have done this in 46 minutes and 57 seconds, which is not bad time at all, but that would have actually placed me 53rd. So, I don't know about that. And by the way, thank you, Riikka, who borrowed me this one. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, especially the stories, but I posted there something in Finnish asking if anybody has that. And 2 hours later, I was happily going home with this puzzle. But yeah, then the postcard puzzle, which I absolutely would have chosen, as I think many people did. And this one I did under 40 minutes, so 39 minutes and 53 seconds, and that would have placed me 30th. So yeah, I think with this one I would have had like my worst ranking maybe, even if I would have chosen the right puzzle. And by the way, if you're wondering, if you're not super fast yet, I noticed there was this really little nugget here, but when I did this first time, I did it actually in 52 minutes. I have written it here. So if you feel like, oh my god, like I cannot even do these postcard puzzles like super fast like everybody else, don't worry, I was also there. This was actually one of the fastest puzzles I did, and I was super happy about that 52 minutes. And that was my first time attempt on this one. And this was also pretty, I think, this might have been actually even after the first Worlds that I participated. So yeah, I haven't been super fast either. But I'm gonna actually tell you more about it now that we're moving on to the round number 3. All right. I have to push this further so they don't block all the other beautiful puzzles we have here. Okay, here, round number 3. Here we have Ocean versus Evening in Pisa. So this is actually funny because these same puzzles were in 2023 Worlds, and there might have been even been maybe somebody who literally did this in their classification round and then this on their semi-final. Anyway, this is the round I was in, so I literally have done this puzzle in the World. So let's start. Why did I actually choose this puzzle? I think at this point I've seen enough rounds to be comfortable enough that yes, I can do my space management things with shared tables. So the circle puzzles were kind of like back in my options. And yes, I have also done this puzzle in the World in 2023. So this was in my semi-final puzzle back then, and my time was like hour and 5 minutes and some seconds, and I finished 61st. So this is 2 years ago. And I don't think so. The situation with this, this was kind of like a tough choice for me because I couldn't remember my latest time with this, and I just remember that I've done it like some months ago. I think I was racing against Stein, and I think I did pretty well, but I don't remember exactly my time. Whereas the Pisa puzzle I actually had not done for over 2 years. I think I did it 2 years ago for a YouTube video, but I have no idea what my time would have been. But yeah, I did actually finish with the time of 48 minutes and 31 seconds, and I placed the 17th on my round, which I'm pretty proud of. I was, by the way, getting really pissed because, you know, we had those cutters, and that was obviously it was my first round, the classification round, and I tried to open my first tape, and it broke, the whole cutter broke, like the tip of it that you're supposed to use for cutting. But luckily I was in the first row, so I was like maybe a little bit yelling or dropping some F word. And then a volunteer was nice enough to give me a new one. So, but I was like, oh my god, there's like 26 seconds left and I'm not even sure about my decision and I cannot open the tapes and anything. And I'm really bad at names. There was a really nice woman next to me who actually chose this Pisa puzzle, and I think because I was talking with her, super nice, and I think she said something like, oh, you're really choosing the round puzzle, and I'm like, I don't know what's the right choice, don't make me even more unsure, I don't know what am I doing here. But yeah, the Pisa puzzle that I obviously now did at home, not too bad with this one either. Because this one I would have done in 49 minutes and 33 seconds, and that would have placed me 20th. So there's not that big of a difference there. And my only question is that I feel like I haven't watched that YouTube video I did a long time ago, but I've had a feeling I may have done this even faster back in then, but it doesn't make sense because it's 2 years ago. But anyway, I do remember that I think, so Alejandro won this round. He's always on the same round as I am. He won this round, but it was funny to me because I think he was a few seconds slower than he was 2 years ago when he won also his round with the same exact puzzle. Yeah, he's great, by the way. He's super great. I mean, who needs to even like get faster when you're just the best of the past? Anyway, yeah, I did the right choice on my round. Good job, me. Okay, round number 4, we have Astrology against the puzzle which names I cannot pronounce. Excalibur Forest. It's probably incorrect. Somebody please help me. I think this would have actually been the trickiest one. Oh, this is by the way upside down. I don't know if I have shown those. Well, it's too late now. This would have probably been the trickiest one because this Astrology one, I have done it before as I've also done the other puzzle. I cannot remember my time, but I know for sure that this is not the easiest round puzzle, but also kind of like not the hardest. And I cannot remember my time for this, but now that I did it, I did this in 50 minutes, 52 seconds, and that would have placed me 18th. By the way, as I'm talking here, I just realized I didn't tell you which one I would have chosen before I started talking more, but I would have actually done the other one. I would have chosen this one. Now let's talk about why would have I chosen this one. So this is actually, I think, literally the last puzzle I did before I went to Worlds, because this was on my prediction list. And I have also done this before. I did this pair puzzle, I think, with Stein maybe in June. And I think this is one of these puzzles that if I'm not in the mood, this is just not working for me. And also I feel like this is so like dark details that if the light is not super good, this might be a bit slower. So I actually did this in 54 minutes before I went to World. Now that I did this again for filming purposes now, this took me over an hour. So 1 hour, 1 minute and 23 seconds. And that would have placed me 52nd. So obviously I would have done a major mistake here, because there would have been a difference of over 10 minutes between these puzzles for me. Obviously, like, yeah, that's such a difference, because even compared just a couple weeks ago or a month ago before the Worlds, my time was 54 minutes. So I'm a bit confused here, to be honest. But I think I would have done the mistake because, yeah, even with the 54, this would have still been faster, even if I would have done this like a couple minutes faster than I just did it the week before. But yeah, this run I would have definitely chosen the wrong puzzle, no doubt about that. That is absolutely my mistake that I admit to. Okay, next round. Let's take round number 5. I keep collecting these random tapes out of this puzzle. I don't like, yeah, okay, I need to stop touching things. All right, so round number 5. I think this was actually the only round that there was clear difficulty difference between the options. And at least for me it was so obvious, but also because I've done this. And if we're completely honest, also I do have to admit that when I did this first time, I expected this not to be that hard as it is, but knowing, because I've done this, I know that this is actually really hard. which also sometimes sceneries people think are harder than they are. So maybe, yeah, I don't know. This is like harder than it looks, and this is easier than it looks, which may get people confused. Anyway, this is Little Sun Phil, and this is Scandinavian Idol, or actually I'm not sure what's the name of this. But let's start with this one. This is actually a pretty funny thing. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but maybe a little bit. No, actually, so my puzzle friend Cameron, actually, so I was chatting with him after his round. I didn't know he was on that round, and I was like, oh, what puzzle? Like, I was just explaining that everybody chose this puzzle, like, it's so obvious. And then he's like, no, I actually chose this one. And then I was like, oh no, like, that's so sad that you didn't qualify because you chose the wrong puzzle. And then he's like, no, I qualified. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, you're good. You're good, because I don't know if I would have. So I finished this in 59 minutes and 23 seconds, which is funny because that would have placed me right after Cameron on 63rd. So yeah, his time is even better than mine, so I need to shut the F up at this point. But yeah, I would have not chosen this puzzle for sure. I would have chosen this puzzle. This is so weird because I'm not sure about the name, because I'm looking at these name options here and I don't like see anything that looks English to me. And usually I check the other boxes. The second one is usually English. This is a Idyllic Scandinavia on the second last, so I don't think that's English. Anyway, this is actually the first puzzle I've ever done with the pair, but that's like over maybe 2.5 years ago, even maybe longer. I'm not sure if I've ever done this solo, but I just know it's an easy puzzle. And I would have done this in 45 minutes and 29 seconds. That would have placed me 28. So huge difference in comparison to this one, as I would have assumed. It's kind of like giving me the same vibes as the Lake Como. So, all right, let's move on to the last round. Okay, the 6th round. Animals, round puzzle, and more animals, but called garden visitors. I would say that this is actually my favorite. I would have chosen this one, and this is actually one of my favorite round puzzles there is. Now, crazy surprise, I think this is also the fastest round puzzle I've ever done. So I've done this one before as well. And yeah, I would have done this around 42 minutes and 58 seconds, and that would have placed me 25th. So yeah, kind of what I expected. Now this was like hard for me to, like, I was pretty convinced this is faster for sure. This was a little bit tricky for me to actually estimate what the final time would it be, other than it's just slower than that one, because this is actually the only puzzle I've ever participated with that there's like this Discord group called like Speed Puzzle Pals or something. They do these events where people have like 1 week time to like multi-attempt, like do one puzzle so many times as they can, try to get the time lowest as possible. So this is the only one of those I've ever participated. I think I got my time down to like 35 minutes-ish. And I think I did this probably like 6 times within like 1 week or like just a couple of days. So I knew that will kind of like fool me, that I have actually no idea what is realistically my time for this, especially because that Speed Puzzle Pals event was like a year ago or something, maybe even more. I do love this puzzle though. This is also one of my favorites because I just love animals on puzzles. And pretty close actually in time. I would have done this in 43 minutes and 49 seconds, and that would have placed me 31st. So not bad with that one either. And once again, just to give you a little bit like what's the overall situation with the qualifications was this on this round, the last one to qualify with their time, 1 hour and 3 minutes and some seconds. So yeah, I would have been like, I would say like if we now go back to all these puzzles, it's safe to say that no matter what would have I chosen in the classification rounds, for me, I would have qualified anyway. The biggest mistake I would have done, well, basically my biggest mistake obviously that I literally would have done is to choose this puzzle. And then my lowest rankings otherwise would have actually been with this one, which is pretty obvious, but then also with the Candies puzzle, which I actually had really good time, and it's easy puzzle, but just because it was paired up with the Postcard, that is not only easy but also a puzzle that people have done 100 millions of times, I would have been like I would have been potatoes on that round. But yeah, I think what people are most curious about is like what is actually my opinion of the puzzle choices for the classification rounds. Now, I'm not gonna go too into this because I think the harsh reality here is that because we have published puzzles anyway, it literally does not matter what do they choose. There will always be complaints just because they're published. So yeah, now we could criticize like, oh my god, you're literally using the same puzzles from the previous worlds, which is actually a kind of funny complaint because that actually read on the Federation page, so we could have complained about it like a half a year ago if that would have been like super big issue. Anyway, it was interesting that they put like the circle puzzle together with another puzzle, but I also kind of like the fact that even maybe their choices were annoying, maybe like too obvious, like using same puzzles from previous years. I would say a lot of people were surprised in a lot of rounds. Like first round you were like, oh my god, there's a circle puzzle, and then you were like, oh my god, there's a postcard puzzle, and then you were like, wait a second, why there is two puzzles from the previous world? And so on. And then out of nowhere there was actually this one puzzle that was from the new catalog. My predictions were that all the puzzles were going to be from the new catalog, as they were last year, as they were also in the previous year. And as much as I would like to have my predictions correct, because it's just good for my reputation, I was actually kind of happy that my predictions were not correct, because to me that also means that they are too easy to guess. And I know, for example, last year I had most of my predictions correct, and I've shared my predictions with the people I coach. So I know some people got a better placement just because they literally just followed the predictions and done the puzzles millions of times, which is not, by the way, a bad thing. I would do, like, this is a competition. Of course, if you think like this is gonna come up, you do it multiple, like there's nothing wrong with that. That's why I share them. I do that also. But yeah, I was kind of happy, if you can understand what I'm trying to say here. I was actually kind of happy to be wrong. But anyway, there's always complaints. As long as we have published puzzles, that's not gonna go anywhere. I already did the other video last week about the semi-final puzzles, and I actually liked really much those. But I have honestly actually nothing against these choices either. I would love to have unreleased ones, but yeah, I think we all would, right? Other than that, I am off to Belgium for my first 24-hour marathon, and then my 10-hour marathon, a lot of other stuff, which is actually funny because I don't know when I will have time to edit this video, so maybe those marathons are already far gone, or maybe they're still upcoming. I don't know. But thank you for joining me again. I would actually love to hear your opinion about these choices. Maybe which one was your favorite, or if you had a more huge time difference than I did. And other than that, I will see you next time. So bye bye.